Excuse me, my friends. Just one short announcement. We'll begin in about 10 minutes, but if we are going to have the short Mincha afternoon service at the beginning of our program and the Ma'arif service at the end of our program this evening. If anybody would like to have a Siddur with them, there are Siddurim at the entranceway. I'm sorry we didn't announce this earlier, but if a couple of people could usher, that would be helpful. And let's let everybody have a Siddur who might want one. Thank you, and we will regather in a few minutes. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. If everyone could find their seats, please. Bruchim habayim, la rachok v'la karov. Good evening and welcome everyone to our community Yom HaShoah v'Hagvura program. To those who have come here tonight from places near and far. And welcome to those who are joining us tonight on live stream as we mark the close of this annual day of commemoration. Tonight, we remember the millions who might have contributed to Jewish life and to the furtherance of humanity, who were murdered in an unparalleled campaign of organized destruction, of genocide. Our presence here tonight is especially important this year at a time of renewed concern about public expressions of anti-Semitism in America. Tonight, we renew our commitments to one another, to those we lost, and those who will be bearers of memory into the future. Towards that end, tonight we're going to share names and hear stories about fathers as we remember loss and bravery. I am Rabbi Leonard Gordon of Congregation B'nai Tikvah here in Canton. I want to welcome everyone to our sanctuary. And I want to welcome the other congregations who are joining us tonight. Ahavat Torah, Chayei Shalom, Temple Sinai, Temple Adat Sharon Sisterhood, Beth David, Eitz Chaim, Temple Israel, Young Israel, and Temple Beth Amunah. We're going to begin our evening with prayer, the short Mincha afternoon service. For those of you who have a Siddur, we are going to be beginning with the Ashrei, page 289. Ashrei Yoshvei V'techa od yalucha selah. Tehillat Adonai daber pivi v'orach kol basar shem kodsho li'olam va'ed va'anachnu nevorech ya me'ata v'ad olam. Hallelujah. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei rabbah b'yom tivrach yerutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael ba'galo v'zman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevorach V'olam yomei omayoha, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbar v'yitram v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudusha brichu li'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran bi'alma v'imeruhu. Page 291, we rise together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Eloi Avotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Anora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol v'Zocher Chastei Avot Umevi goel livnei v'neihem leman shmo bi'ava. Melech ozer ufokedu moshia u'magen. Baruch atah Adonai. Magen Avraham ufoked Sarah. Atah gibor l'olam Adonai. Mechaye metim ato rav lo shia. Morid hatahal. Mechalkel chayim bechesed. Mechaye metim barachamim rabim. Somech noflim v'rofei cholim umatir asurim umekayem emunato l'shenei afar mi chamocha bal gevurot umido melach melech meimit umechaye umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'emana tolach yot metim baruch atah Adonai mechaye hametim. Nikadesh et shimcho b'olam k'shem shmati shimo tov b'shmei morom kakatuv al yad neviecha v'korazeh el ze v'yomar kadosh 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 Adonai tzvaot meloch al haaretz kivodo liumatam baruch yomeru baruch kivod Adonai mimkomo uvdivrei kachkol katuv le'mohor yimloch hanoi li'olam Elohai Zion l'dor v'dor hallelujah. The Dorvadog and Gilechal Nesat at Sachim Grishat Hanaktish, for Shifrachol Enu Pino Loimushalom Vaed, Kiamel Kadova Kroshat Baruch Adonai, Hael Hakadosh. Please take time to complete your Amidah. We're going to continue now with the Kaddish Shalem on page 300. Yitgadal v'yitgadash merabah b'yalma divrach yerutevim l'tmachutei b'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayedachol Beit Yisrael b'agol v'zman kari v'yimeru amen yehi shmei rabba mevorach le'olam yomei omaya yitborach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekudusha brichu le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata d'merim b'yalma v'yimeru amen. Kabel Tzodhon V'Otchon D'Chol Yisrael Kadam Avuhon Divishmai Avimaru Amen. Yehi Shlomo Rabba Min Shemai V'Chaim Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Yimaru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Mromav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Yimaru Amen. Aleinu L'Shabeach Hakol Latei Kedula Oseh Reishi Shelo asanu kigoye haratzot v'lo samanu kimishpachot ha'adama Shelo sam chelkeinu kahem v'gor aleinu kichol hamonam v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Umoshav Yikaro Rashamayim Imahal Ushchinatu Zo B'gov Hei Meromim U'Eloheinu Eino Emet Malkeinu Efes Sulat ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום בהשבות אל לבבך. כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת. אין עוד, אין עוד. אוקיי, נקרא. כי המלכות שלך היא לעולמי תמלוך בכבוד, ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, Please be seated. We're going to conclude our service now with the mourner's Kaddish. Anyone in mourning, those who are recalling a yortzeit, and anyone whose custom it is to stand for the Kaddish, let's join together. Page 302. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah B'alma divrach Yerutei v'amlich Malchutei B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala uv'izman kori v'imeru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach v'olam yomei omaya Yitborach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal Shmei dekudusha brichu Li'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran bi'alma v'imeru Amen. Yehi Shlomo Rabbah min Shemaya V'chaim olenu v'al kol Yisrael v'imeru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Olenu v'al kol Yisrael v'imeru, Amen. To emphasize one of the themes of our evening, the connection between generations, we now welcome students from our community to light memorial candles and share the stories of survivors in particular who became well known and who have made special contributions to our culture. The names of our students and their texts can be found in your program booklets. Tina?
Robert Max Witterman was a French actor whose stage name was Robert Clary, best known as Corporal Lebrun on a TV show Hogan's Heroes. He was born in Paris, the youngest of 14 children. At age 12, he began a career singing professionally on a French radio station and also studied art in Paris. Around age 16, he was imprisoned in a concentration camp to work in a factory. To keep his morale up, he sang while he worked, and soon was told to perform song and dance routines for camp commanders. His voice and charm saved him from deportation and earned him extra food. At Buchenwald, he sang to the SS soldiers. He said, "You entertain, but you're going to starve and you're going to die." It was absurd. They could kill you in a second. 12 other members of his immediate family died in the Auschwitz concentration camp. 3 of his siblings survived. In his 1994 testimony, Clary recalls a happy childhood that gave him both the tools to survive the war and the passion to make it into Hollywood. And he never wanted to talk about it. But that changed when he heard a Holocaust survivor say, 30, 40 years from now, we're all going to be dead, and anybody can write anything they want about it. After 36 years of not saying anything about it, I have to teach people about man's inhumanity to man. Robert Clary gave a tremendous amount of time and energy to collecting Holocaust testimonies because he was so committed to honoring and preserving the voices of survivors. Clary died in 2022 at age 96.
Agnes Kelty is the oldest living Olympian, having recently celebrated her 102nd birthday. She was born in Budapest in 1921 to an assimilated Jewish family. She started gymnastics at Budapest's Jewish club when she was 4 years old. By 1937, at age 16, she had won the first of 10 national titles. To escape deportation, Agnes bought the papers of a Christian girl and essentially hid in plain sight. She worked as a furrier and a maid for a family that sympathized with the Nazis. During the prolonged battle of siege in Budapest, she did morning rounds to collect the bodies of those who had died the previous day and placed them in a massive grave. Her mother and sister were saved by the renowned Swedish diplomat Raoul Wallenberg. Her father perished in Auschwitz along with the rest of her family. She resumed her gymnastic career after the war and was a Hungarian Olympic team member in 1948, 1952, and 1956. In 1952, she won a gold, silver, and 2 bronze medals. In 1956 in Melbourne, she won 4 gold medals and 2 silvers. She was 35 years old and the oldest female gymnast to win gold. She had more Olympic medals to her credit than any other Jewish athlete except Mark Spitz. In 1956, the Soviet Union invaded Hungary, and Agnes defected to Australia, where she was granted asylum. Eventually, she emigrated to Israel and coached an Israeli national gymnastics team. She returned to Hungary in 2015.
Gerhard Gadbeck was born in Berlin, Germany in 1923. He was a German-Israeli educator, author, activist, resistance member, and survivor of the Holocaust. He wrote his autobiography, An Underground Life, Memoirs of a Gay Jew in Nazi Berlin in 1995. His father was born Jewish, and his German mother, originally a Protestant, converted to Judaism. As a person of partial Jewish ancestry, Beck was not deported with other German Jews. However, his boyfriend Manfred Lewin was sent to Auschwitz, where he and his entire family were murdered. Gad Beck joined an underground effort to supply food and hiding places to Jews escaping to neutral Switzerland. In early 1945, a Jewish spy for the Gestapo betrayed him, and he was subsequently interrogated and interned in a Jewish transit camp in Berlin. His parents and sister did survive the war thanks to help from their Christian relatives on his mother's side. After the war, Beck helped organize efforts to enable Jewish survivors to emigrate to Israel, emigrating there himself in 1947. In the late 1970s, Beck met Julius Laufer, and the two were together for 35 years. In 1979, Beck returned to Berlin, where he was the director of the Jewish Adult Education Center. In 2000, Beck was featured in the HBO documentary film Paragraph 175, in which he remembers his great love, Manfred Lewin, lost to the Nazis.
Carola Ruth Siegel Westheimer, now known simply as Dr. Ruth, was born in 1928 in Weisenfeld, Germany, to Orthodox parents. She was an only child. When she was 10 years old, she witnessed her father being taken away by the Gestapo, loaded onto a truck, and taken to the Dachau concentration camp. Shortly afterward, in order to protect her, her mother sent her on the Kindertransport, the Jewish children's rescue train, to Switzerland. She never saw her parents or other family members again. After the war, she immigrated to Eretz Yisrael and joined the Haganah, where she was trained as a sniper but was never in combat. 2 years later, at the age of 22, she moved to Paris and studied psychology at the Sorbonne. Immigrating to the United States in 1956, she worked as a maid to put herself through graduate school. Despite her traumatic childhood and not having a high school education, at age 42, she earned a Doctor of Education at Columbia University. She is now world famous as an expert in human sexuality. She has shared her knowledge on popular radio and TV shows, taught at many universities, and written several books. She is currently 94 years old.
Simon Wiesenthal was a Jewish Austrian Holocaust survivor, Nazi hunter, and writer. Wiesenthal was born in 1908 in Austria-Hungary, now Ukraine. In 1941, Wiesenthal and his wife were sent to the Lenwolf ghetto. In 1943, he escaped, but 8 months later was again arrested. When American soldiers liberated Simon Wiesenthal from the Mauthausen concentration camp on May 5, 1945, he weighed 90 pounds. He was truly a survivor, having lived through the death traps of 5 concentration camps. He and his wife, whom he reunited with after the war, lost 89 family members in total from the Holocaust. Wiesenthal became an unrelenting Nazi hunter, tracking down runaway Nazi war criminals, 1,100 of whom would be brought to justice by his efforts. He established the Documentation Center of the Association of Jewish Victims of the Nazi Regime in Vienna to help procure and disseminate information on war crimes. Among some of the most notable SS criminals he brought before the law was Franz Muir, the Butcher of Wilna. He pursued the notorious Auschwitz doctor Joseph Mengele. However, Mengele died as a recluse in Brazil before Wiesenthal could capture him. In 1977, the Simon Wiesenthal Center in Los Angeles was established to honor his lifelong work. He died in his home in Vienna at age 97 in 2005.
Olga K., my great-grandmother, was born in 1926 in Hungary. She grew up in an observant Jewish family with her 9 siblings. On April 15, 1944, her family was deported to Sima Putza. She left with only a few clothes and jewelry, but not much else. She lived there for a while, sleeping on straw thrown on the floor before leaving for Auschwitz in cattle cars on May 22, 1944. When they arrived, most of Olga's family was escorted to the gas chambers, but Olga and her sister Ava were sent to a room with other women and were forced to strip and shave from head to toe. They were given a dress to wear and taken to barracks number 10. Olga remembers not leaving the bunker often, but hearing many airplanes, which she hoped were the Allied planes that would free them. On July 29th, Olga and Ava were taken to the Kaufering concentration camp in Bavaria, Germany, with other women. They did many types of work there, such as working in the homes of German officers. Olga constantly had to support her sister, who became very depressed and would start crying hysterically. At the end of November, Olga and Ava were sent to the Bergen-Belsen camp and were joined by their sister Bella a few months later. Olga remembers, "We were riddled with lice. We lay on the crowded floor. Everyone got sick and had diarrhea. There was no time to go to the outside toilets. People died one after another. We did not think. We did not talk to each other about what was going to happen. Death became a commonplace. Today, you, and tomorrow, whoever was next to me." Unfortunately, Ava died after liberation due to sickness, hunger, and cold. After recovering in Sweden, Olga moved to the United States, married George K., and had 2 children. In 1985, Olga and George moved to Israel. In 2022, she was a part of a group of Holocaust survivors to light one of the 6 torches at the state opening ceremony of Holocaust Remembrance Day at Yad Vashem. Olga spent much of her life telling her story to schools and organizations. Today, she is 96.
Tuvia Freeman was born in 1922 in Radom, Poland. Freeman survived several concentration camps during the Holocaust, which killed his parents and 2 siblings. As a survivor, Freeman was passionate about bringing Nazis to justice. In the months after World War II, he and other survivors roamed the Polish countryside capturing Nazis. Next, Freeman moved to Vienna and began collecting information with the help of the Vienna police. Freeman gathered enough information to lead to the arrest of 250 Nazi war criminals. Among those caught by Freeman were Theodor Eick, commandant of the Dachau concentration camp, Hans Bothmann, commandant of the Chelmno extermination camp, and Bruno Streckenbach, a senior officer in the Reich Security Ministry. In 1952, Freeman moved to Israel, where he created the Institute for the Documentation of Nazi War Crimes. Freeman's greatest achievement came when he helped secure the capture of Adolf Eichmann. Eichmann was the Nazi officer responsible for implementing the final solution, which saw 6 million Jews perish. Having received a tip that Eichmann was hiding out in Argentina, Freeman convinced Israel's secret services to track him down. Eichmann was found guilty at trial and executed in 1962. Freeman remained in Israel until his death in 2011 at the age of 88.
Thank you for sharing those stories. There's a special ritual at this point in our program to invite people who would like to. First, survivors and children of survivors and next generation, and then anyone else as well, to come forward to these 2 tables to my right and left and light the tea candles that are on the table in memory of those who are departed. And while people come forward to do that, I want to invite Dr. Harvey Katz to join us to offer a medley of Jewish musical memories. And again, I encourage people to step forward. Dr. Katz, thank you so much. Memory. We recall names, and we ascribe special significance to the passing on of names from generation to generation. So we'll take moments now to hear from representatives of our different communities to share the names of those who died in the Shoah. From Ahavat Torah first, and please please go up to the Torah table, and please share your name and then the names from your community. Please.
Hi, I'm Leslie Novin Boyle from Ahavat Torah. Moshe Fisher, Moshe Barakowski, Samuel Schwerer, Hannah Schwerer, Zivi Schwerer, Shea Schwerer, Leah Schwerer, Luba Nachimowitz, Yaakov Nachimowitz, Sarah Rogovsky, Moshe Rogovsky, the Rogovsky family, the Nachimowitz family, Hudas Major, Hirsch Yoel Shalom Major, Moshe Hillel Major, Isaac Major, Shemaiah Major, Golda Major, Mindel Major, Malka Major, Fredel Major, Rosa Major, the Major family, the Brahms-Heisig family, Annie Schmidt, the Schmidt family, the Weiner family, the Bravermid family, the Schack family, Aaron Singer, Avram Singer, Solomon Fisher, Ernestine Fisher.
B'nai Tikvah.
I'm Reb Lisa Feld. The B'nai Tikvah list includes the names of families from the town from which our Zachor Holocaust Torah came. The Bergman family, the Tenenbaum family, the Zelser family, the Bick family, the Shapira family, the Goldschmidt family, the Gorodetzer family, the Shavitz family, the Markman family, the Gold family, the Ost family, the Spiro family, the Moldavan family, Teitelbaum family, and Tachman family, the Woolrich family, Moshe Zaychik, Aaron Zaychik and his family, Leon Rubenstein, Manke Segalis, Basha Segalis, David Segalis, Frumka Segalis, Berka Segalis, Tefka Segalis, Rizala Segalis, Sholomel Segalis, Avraham Zilberberg, Rivka Zilberberg, Yosef Zilberberg, Feiga Zilberberg, Asher Chodak, Charna Chodak, Udel Chodak, Herschel Chodak. 29 members of the Grobtuk family, including Rizal Grobtuk, Avram Grobtuk, Chaim Menashe Grobtuk, Ita Grobtuk, Selig and Regina Lustbader, Fagel Lustbader, Joseph and Ella Rosenstein, Tzipi Devora Prop Khan and her children, Yisrael, Lieb, Tauba, Leah, Chaika. Yita and Baruch Horndrexler, Minna Horndrexler, Laura and Abraham Teichner, Carl Teichner, Itzhak Stern, Moritz Stern, Erwin Stern, Leah Ackerman Lefkowitz, Avram Lefkowitz, Michelin Weinstein, Hannah Chotner Weinstein, Esther Lefkowitz, Naftali Lefkowitz, David Lefkowitz, and Izzy Geller.
Temple Beth David.
Cantor Mayan Harel. Tonight we remember Joe Schwartz, Benjamin Hecht, Sadie Schwartz, Erica Weiss, Irene Naumann, Giselor Monksch, Wilhelm Monksch, Elise Weiner, Rudolph Weiner, the Niemiec family, and the Stern family.
Temple Beth Amuna.
Rabbi Gaz from Temple Beth Amuna, Israel Geller, Zilo Geller, Gittel Geller, Beryl Geller, Ruvain Geller, Hudis Geller, Chippa Geller Klein, Chaim Klein, Rivka Klein, Gella Klein, Noah Wolfowitz, Sarah Wolfowitz, Leon Wolfowitz, Shmuel Polwarmacher, Alta Perlwamacher, Meyer Levine, the Bober family, the Woolrush family, Jacob Renger, Dora Renger, Leza Abramovitz, the Abramovitz family, Chadaho family, Olender family, the Goldberg family, the Wasserstrom family, the Smitanka family, the Bresky family, the Zismanowicz family, the Abramovich family, Yosel and Chaya Rivka Gershuni, Yeshua Gershuni and family, Herschel Gershuni and family, Meyer Gershuni and family, Shlomo Gershuni, Hannah Gershuni, Deborah Gershuni, Zepsel Sonia and Paula Kudrich. And from Temple Sharei Tefillah, that unfortunately is no longer around, but they still would like the names remembered. Shandel Cobb, Jacob Cobb, Stella Cobb, Kurt Cobb, Julius Cobb, Leb Grubinger, Giza Grubinger, Leah Grubinger, Max Grubinger, members of the Schuster family, members of the Kurgan family, members of the Patashnik family, and members of the Gauss family.
Temple Chai Shalom.
I'm Rabbi Ken Carr. The Temple Chai Shalom family remembers Abraham Lipschitz, Sarah Lipschitz, Sarah Ziegermeister, Gittel Ziegermeister, Gisja Ziegermeister, Paul Balint, Carl Hoffman, Eva Oraslan, George Oraslan, Giza Oraslan, Ilanka Oraslan, Kretz Oraslan, the Zalkman family, the Schulman family, Dubba Albert, Samuel Albert, Benno Rosenberg, Hedwig Speyer Rosenberg, Julius Speyer, Rivka Gavorin, Shmuel Gavorin, Yosef Gavorin, Pesya Leader, Malka Leader, Ben Sion Leader, Manya Leader, Fiva Leader, Delka Epstein, Moshe and Sarah Bob and their 5 children, Pinchas Turtletaub, Sora Turtletaub, Yosel Turtletaub, Moishten Turtletaub, Bela Gorgon, Rosa Weinstein, Baruch Weinstein.
Temple Israel.
I'm Sharon Schulkind. 35 people from the Friedman family, Greta Rubenstein, Thea Rubenstein, the Goldberg family, Mr. and Mrs. Arki Zvi, Rachel Leah, and Sarah Radek, the Smitanka family, Shmuel, Ira, Fredel, Menachem of Karelitz, Yosef, Rose, Molly, Devorah, and Abraham Roback, Shola, Razel, Bela, Yosef, Shandel and her sons Moshe and Shmuel, Rayla and sons Pesel and Yaakov Halevi, Muskie, Wesky, Rachel Chana and 5 daughters, the Horowitz family, the Landau family, Lieber family, Teitelbaum family, Licht family, Henrik, Sonia, and Wittek Drucker, Naphtali Lieb, Benjamin Ben Naphtali, the Rosenfield family, Chaya Kayan Schwimmer, Shari, Gedalia, David, Ilusha, Olga, and Judith Schwimmer, Ilanka, Bella, Eva, and Tibor Hollander, Shmuel Hirsch Mendlowitz, Elka Basha and Mordechai Klein, Chaim Greenfield and 31 people from the Greenfield family, Herschel, Zvili, Reuven, Joachim, Rivka Lefkowitz, Leah, Lily, and Moshe Smudjevitz, Leah and Moshe Gedalovitz, Gilel Moskovitz, Klein, Moshe Benjamin Klein, Malka, Sarah, Abraham, Rivka, and Herschel Klein, Rachel, Malik, and Isaac Stein, Matla Bank, Ezra, Ethel, Shimon, Nissim, Chaya, Esther, Lieb, and Mendel Bader, Zoltan, Morris, and Isaac Mayer, Yudah Dim and grandparents, Israel, Rachel, and daughter Weisman, the Strauss family, 18+ members, Michali Goldstein, Margaret Zick Goldstein, Zoltan Asher Zick, Eva Esther Zick, Joseph Newman, Asher, age 5 Newman, Odon Raz, Olga Renner Raz, the Mikhailovich family, Yehuda Wiener, Kayla Rachel Wiener, Devorah Wiener, Ilona Wiener, Sverin, Bernat Laszlo Herman, Zelig and Teresa Weinberger, Sverin, Mickey, and Edith Leibowitz, 12 members of the Selmies family, 21 members of the Reisner family, 9 members of the Ungar family, Samuel Brinks, Stephanie Rosenbaum, Otto Rosenbaum, Fritz Steinhardt, Max Goldstein, Sarah Goldstein, Mindy Goldstein, extended members of the Goldstein family, Mordechai Chaya Elka and Avram Breitfeld, Shana Golda Dubner, Miriam, Hillel, Mariash, and Chaya Leah Pester, the Rosengarten family, Niesenholz family, Maureen Stern, Kurt Hersfeld, Abraham Harry and son Max Slager, Adolf and Regina Kachin, Mayor Willie, Max, and Hedwig Stern, Adolf and Meta Otto Sternberg, Dina and daughter Alice Sternberg, David Lesser, Hadassah Lesser, Regina Rivka Lesser, Rivka Lesser Friedenreich, David Eliakim Friedenreich, Livia Baum Friedenreich, Tirza Friedenreich, Yitzchak Friedenreich, Bela Kempner, Mayor Kempner, David and Adele Zisman, Feiga and Abraham Zettler, Ida Zilberzak, David Zilberzak, Ignatz Evelyn and son Max Carniel, 26 extended members of the Loeb family, extended members of the Magyar family, Abraham Nass Regensburg, Rebecca Friedlander, Merrill and Shlomo Khan and their 6 children, Nechama Leah and Feva Liba Uter, their children Shmuel and Chana Rachel and their families, Aaron and Frida Grunberg, and Shimon Goldstein.
Temple Sinai.
I'm Cantor Becky Kittrick. Temple Sinai remembers the Omkraut family, members of the Bader family, including Ezra Bader, Nisan and Chantaya Bader, and 4 children, Shimon and Chesha Bader and children, Esther and Herman, Chaya and her spouse and children, Mendel Bader, Leib Bader, and Dora Bader, Joseph Bernheim, Elijah Borax, the Buckler family, the Davidovich family, the Leo and Liza Durson family, the Eckheiser family, 28 people, members of the Gelwin family, Martha Getz, Chaya Matel Sofer Goldstein and David Goldstein, Chana Goldberg Gradovchik, Mina Gradovchik, Moshe Gradovchik, Sala Gradovchik, Avram Goldberg, Rachel Goldberg, Simcha Goldberg, Samuel Grode, Enoch Grodonicus, Rabbi Joseph Grodonicus and family, the Friends of Greta Hamburger, the Gross family, including Celia, Shlomo, Chaya, Chana, and Rachel, and their spouses and children, and all the rest of the Gross family whose names are not known. Fina Height, Marta Height, May Height, Frida Hirschberger, Helen Levy Hornberg, Sigmund Hornberg, Kalman Kadetsky and family, Adele Kaplan, Joseph Kaplan, Sarah Kaplan, the Cowan family, Simcha, Leah, Doba, Haskell, and Sarah Kleinlehrer, the Cohn family, Chava Gradovchip Cooperschmidt, Leah Cooperschmidt, Rachel Cooperschmidt, the family members of Solomon and Rita Landstrass, Amalia Stock Levy, Edward Levy, Hannah Levy, Samuel Levy, Selma Levy, the Licht family, Tanya Limonik, Jacques Limonik, Lena Mayer, the Muraviak family of 50 people, Avram Muraviak, Chaim Velvel Muraviak, Fredel Muraviak, Zhenya Muraviak, Gittel Slobodka Muraviak, Yankel Muraviak, the Mary Robinson family, Bertha Roos, Hedwig Roos, the Schwanheimer family, Alma Schwartz, Esther Schwartz, Leib Schwartz, Sonia Schwartz, David Schinder and members of the Schinder family, the Siverstein family of 32 people, Razel Skop, the Slobodkin family of 30 people, Adolf Steigerwald, Carla Steigerwald, Meta Wolf Steigerwald, the Stein family, Hannah Stern, Albert Stock, Lena Stock, Louis Stock, Moses Stock, Sabina Stock, the Wasserstrom family of 78 people, Gilberte Gigi Wertheim, Leon Wertheim, Martha Metzger Wertheim, Moshe Yoel Zisman, Pesach Zisman, wife and baby, Rivka Gradovchik Zisman, Shlome Zisman, Shlome Zalman Zisman, Sylvia Zisman, Srul Hirsch Zisman, Zishya Zisman, Zeleny family, Ignatz Rothman, the Kovas family, the Bonk extended family, and the Rosenblatt extended family.
Young Israel, and Eitz Chaim.
My name is Aaron Sachs with the Young Israel of Sharon. The members of the Wolski and Rutschik family, Chana bat Emily, Chana ben Sura, Emily bat Pauline, Yischikel ben Manaya, Gitta bat Hinda, Lev bat Gitta, Yisrael ben Gitta, Yosef ben Gitta, Yitzchak ben Gitta, Gina bat Gitta, Aharon Mordechai, Chania Shimshak, David and Chana Shimshak, and their children Bella, Sarah, and Avram Alterel, Zipa and Pesach and Bella, Rachel and Rivka Plotnik, Alta Razel bat Avram Eliezer, Perel Gittel bat Yechiel Michal Halevi, Ephraim Yitzchak Alexander ben Yechiel Michal Halevi, Yitzchak ben Yechiel Michal Halevi, Alta Razel bas Avram Eliezer Lis, Avram Eliezer ben Yisrael Tzvi Lubliner, Perel Gidel bas Yechiel Michal Halevi Lis, Ephraim Ziskin Alexander ben Yechiel Michal Halevi Lis, Yitzchak ben Yechiel Michal Halevi Lis, Priva bas Yisrael Tzvi Lis, Yosef ben Elazar Hashrag Halevi Lis, Esther Malka bas Elazar Hashrag Halevi Pomerantz, Tova bas Shapshi Halev Lis, Shimon Huberand, Rabbi Kolonis Kalman Epstein, Miriam Schreiber, Yitzchak Anderman and his entire family, Lisa and Amos Gavi, Lily Tobias, Louis Lowenberg, Chana Lowenberg, Joseph Mandel and his mother's family, Shor Herman Mandel, Hannah Klein Mandel, Alexander Mandel, Serene Ingrid Mandel, Hermana Mandel, Margit Mandel Shor, Aaron Ephraim Shor, Solomon Israel Shor, Rosalind Mandel, Simon Shor, Malvin Frischman Shor, Agnes Shor, Rev Leon Alberto Orvoti and his wife Margarita Orvoti, Giulio Rossi, Terry and Pipi Klein, and Adolf and Berta Berger, Aaron ben Chaim Eliyahu and family, Tuvia ben Chaim Eliyahu and family, David ben Chaim Eliyahu and family, Eric Mathis, Joseph Mathis, Tina Mathis, Els Elkan, Jacob Daniel, Frida Rothschild, Avram Kaliko, Sippy Kaliko, Frida Grunbaum, Aaron Grunbaum, Frankie Grunbaum, Simon Goldberg, Ingi Katz-Berger, Rosa Grunbaum, Jenny Adolf and Werner, Lizolette Stern, Lena Henlin, Ruth Henlin, Jacob Weitz, Sarah Weitz, Cesarin Bergdin, Desir Weitz, Alexander Weitz, Martin Weitz, Shmuel and Sarah Zisplatt and 7 of their children, Yentl and Henshi Rosenberg and their family, and Rav Moshe Bilk, Hirsch Ellenbogen, Chaim Yaakov Kopel Bluestein, Svia Golda Rosenholt, David and Rachel Walter, Joseph Katzner, Leo Melman and Chana Shriversky, Ethel and Samuel and Akiva Melman, David Granz, Sarah Gans, Svi Feldstein, Sabina Feldstein, Toby Feldstein. And then from Eitz Chaim, we have Herman Bloom, Eliezer Bloom, Baby Bloom, Rachel Prusak, Aaron Prusak, Kuna Prusak, Eliezer Prusak, Robert Kablutsky, Benjamin Kablutsky, Baby Kablutsky, Nechama Dantz Merkovsky Bat Ephraim, Chana Rachel Volk Bat Yankel, Rachel Bet Bat Shmuel, Shlomo Lichtig, Leah Bat Shlomo, and Yosef Ben Milachik.
These lists are comprehensive but not complete. So we want to take a moment now. I'm going to look around the room, and if anybody would like to add a name from your seats, please, we'll take a moment, if there are other names to add, to do so, and we'll begin on this side.
David and Dina Wishkin and 2 children, Raphael Faye Fisher and her 5 children.
In memory of all of our departed, those whose names we have mentioned and those whose names we are carrying in our hearts, let's stand together now. Reb Josh Schreiber will lead the Hebrew of the prayer El Malei Rachamim, God filled with a mother's compassion.
El Malei Rachamim, שוכן במרומים, המצא מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה, במעלות קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע המזהירים. לנשמושת 6 מיליוני אחיותינו ואחינו אשר נספו בשואה, שנהרגו ושנשחטו, שנחנקו ושנקברו חיים, שנשרפו ושעונו ילדים וזקנים, נשים וגברים, מורי דרכים הם פשוטי עם, אנשי אמונה ותורה, עם מורדים וחולמים. הנאהבים והנעימים בחייהם, ובמותם לא נפרדו. אנא בעל הרחמים, הסתירם בסתר כנפיך לעולמים, וצרור בצרור החיים את נשמותם. אדוני הוא נחלותם, וינוחו ושלום על משכבם, ונאמר
El Molei Rachamim, exalted, compassionate God, grant perfect peace in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure to the souls of our dear ones, beloved women, men, and children of the house of Israel who were slaughtered and suffocated and burned to ashes. May their memory endure, inspiring truth and loyalty in our lives. May their souls thus be bound up in the bonds of life. In their sheltering abode, may they only know peace. And let us say, Amen. Please be seated. I am delighted to welcome for the first of our two reflections this evening, Renee Tepper.
Up until I was 23 years old in 1980, I thought my father was simply George Grobetouch, a New York City taxicab owner-driver, husband, and father of the three of us. He was handsome. We often heard he looked like Yul Brynner or Marlon Brando, charming and charismatic. But he was a playboy, a tough guy, aggressive, and he yelled a lot at home. We didn't know why. My brother and sister and I were afraid of him. All we knew about him was that he had no relatives, but he had tons of friends, all refugees, as they called themselves then. My Brooklyn-born mother had parents and siblings, and my East European father had no family, nor did any of his friends. So we grew up thinking that kids only get one set of grandparents from their mom's side, and that dads had no families. That's just how it was. We didn't think about it. We didn't know it was unusual. We didn't talk about it. But as I grew up, I started to wonder who he really was, where he came from, who he came from. So eventually, when I was 23, I asked him if I could interview him, and we scheduled a time to do this in a restaurant. I had no idea what his life before our family had been. Here is but a fraction of some of the stories he told me. He was born in the Warsaw Ghetto in Poland in 1923 into a Jewish but secular family. And he was named Gedalia Grobtoch, not George Grobetouch. He was the baby of 4 children. In 1931, when he was 8 years old, and the Nazi Party was coming into power, he remembers his father showing them the ship tickets he had bought for the whole family to immigrate to Israel in 1 month's time. They were so excited, but that was not to happen. Because also in that year, his father contracted tuberculosis, was in a sanatorium for a while, and died. They didn't make it to America. Instead, my father said he then had to leave school in the 3rd grade for 2 reasons. One, to help earn money for the struggling family, dragging heavy sacks of coal and delivering it to apartments. And 2, because Jewish children were no longer allowed in the public schools. As he grew up, he was a tough kid. He liked to fight. He said that if a goy called him a dirty Jew, he wouldn't run, he'd beat them up. As a teenager, he had 2 passions, boxing and dogs. He had a German shepherd who he trained to attack Nazis on his secret command of Trafe. In 1939, after years of anti-Semitism, and now ruled by the Nazis, the siege of Warsaw was underway. A wall was built around his own neighborhood, the Warsaw Ghetto. He was 16 years old. Imagine, just like these young people here in the audience. He could smell what was coming and said to his mother and 3 older siblings, "Let's leave. Things are not good for Jews here." But his mother replied, "What are you talking about? Don't be ridiculous. This is our home. What's going to happen?" But he, his 20-year-old brother, Chaim Menashe, and a friend decided to leave. They put on backpacks, kissed his mother goodbye, and walked out of the gates of the Warsaw Ghetto just before the gates were locked. That was a cold and dank and rainy October day in 1939. A little while after they had set out, his brother decided he had had enough of the nasty weather and turned around to go home. He and the friend continued on, and they made it to the forest where they hid for a time, and eventually on to Russia. He told me that he was able to send and receive letters from his mother, but that over time they started to become strange, and he realized they were being censored. And then they stopped coming at all. He spent the rest of the war years, 1940 to 1945, in Russia growing up, from ages 17 to 23, now going by the Russian name Genya, joining the Russian army for a bit, boxing, being a sports trainer, and working at an antique shop. Finally, when the war ended, he returned to Warsaw to look for his family. But his Warsaw was no more. It had been bombed to ruins, and all the Jews were gone. So he made his way, along with thousands of others, to a DP, displaced persons camp in Germany, where he lived for the next 3 years, from ages 23 to 26, looking for any surviving relatives, to no avail, and working as a sports trainer. Through the Jewish organization HaShoah, he found out that he had an uncle he did not know about, his father's brother, who lived in America. And so, in 1949, when he was 26, he arrived at his Uncle David's in a place called Brooklyn, New York, and so began his next chapter as George Grobtouch. At the end of my interview, I asked my father why he had never told us any of this. He simply said, "You never asked." To this day, I searched the Yad Vashem records and other records to find his mother, sister, and brother's fates, but with no success, although I have found records of 29 of his relatives who perished, whom he may not have even known of. Finally, I'd like to mention that our very unusual last name, Grobtouch, was always a conversation piece. We had considered changing it to Green at one point, but we decided that we better keep it. In case anyone we know ever meets another Grobtouch, please let us know, because surely they must be related to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you. I am delighted to welcome for a musical interlude now, Sheer Rhythm. Bum, ba-da-da-dum, da, bum, ba-da-da-dum, da, bum, ba-da-da-dum, da, da.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol ha-shalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol ha-shalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov b'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol leil v'chol shah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
The second of our reflections now from Dina Rosenbaum.
Mordechai Zelek Vishkin, Max. My father was from a small farm village north of Vilna called Dubna, home to about 150 Jewish families, 500 people. He was the middle of 5 children, his parents, Dina and David Vishkin. He didn't go to school, but he spent his youth tending to the farm animals and studying with the rabbi. By studying with the rabbi, I meant he would walk in the snow, often on skis or snowshoes he made themselves, to the rabbi's house to sit and learn with other children, babysit the rabbi's children, or just get in trouble, like cutting off the rabbi's beard while he fell asleep. But at the break of the war, he was 18, and he was working in southern Poland where he found work. When the war broke out, he walked back 250 miles to his hometown because it was unsafe to travel any other way. He walked at night, hid during the day, slept in the woods, and even lost a pair of shoes when they were stolen while he slept. He arrived home to the displeasure of his mother, who wanted him to run and get out of Poland because she knew what was coming. But in June of 1941, they rounded up the Jews in his town's 2 synagogues. The men were formed into a line. His uncle was killed right in front of him, along with 14 others. The remaining Jews of Dubna were moved from ghetto to ghetto, and Dubna was burned to the ground during fighting between the Germans and the Russians. The young, like my father, were sent to labor camps to work, while most of the families stayed in the ghetto. In March of 1943, they loaded the remaining Jews onto cattle trains, telling them they were going to Kovno. but instead, the train went to Panari, where they were all shot in the Panari massacre. Individuals killed in the back while standing on the edge of a pit. The Dubina families were part of 3,000 persons killed in one day in Panari, the day before Purim. My father's parents and 2 younger brothers died in that massacre. My father did not get on the train to Panari. Instead, he ran away on intel from a friend who was monitoring and loading people onto the train. But he was later caught and was held in the police station. When he was released, the train was gone. Knowing he had to keep moving to stay alive, at first he tried to seek help from farmers, but eventually wound up in the Vilna ghetto. There he befriended a man named Boris Ullman. A group of Jews, including Max and Boris, tried to buy and smuggle arms into the ghetto. But in the end, the group escaped the ghetto, heading to the forest, where they were able to gather guns and uniforms they took off of dead soldiers. They walked for 10 days in the forest, traveling only at night, before they met a Russian partisan group, who they convinced to allow them to join them because they had guns and they had uniforms. But more importantly, they convinced them that they knew how to speak Polish and they knew all the roads and the train tracks to Vilna and would be an asset to them. Boris and Max were the only Jews in this group of partisans. My father stayed with the partisan army, fighting, blowing up train tracks, and helping others in the woods by getting food from the peasants. He was now a Russian soldier. One night, while he was out getting food, he came upon a Jewish couple covered in newspaper because they had little clothing. He took them to the woods where they got more clothing and food and where they survived. It was by coincidence that after the war, my father was driving down the street in Connecticut and he saw this couple, the couple that he had saved, just accidentally ran into them. Back in 1944, Russia was moving into Poland. A year later, the Red Army liberated the forest. Max returned to his hometown, which was under Russian rule, but there was nothing left, and his family was gone. He moved to Broslav, a larger town just south of his, which was Boris's hometown, where he was able to find some work. In Breslav, he met and married my mother, Etta, who was a childhood friend of Boris's. My mother survived by spending over 2 years in hiding with a Polish family. She was the only survivor of her family, the oldest of 6 children. My parents got married in Broslav, and then again, they got married actually 3 times. But they spent the year traveling through Poland and Germany until they made it to the American DP displaced persons camps. During the travels in Germany, my father learned that his 2 older sisters who had gone to Russia before the Germans arrived were alive and safe. They were reunited with them in Eschweg DP camp, where they lived with other survivors. They all became family. They waited 3 years for papers from my mother's uncles in America. His sisters immigrated to Israel, while my parents went by boat to Boston, spent their first night at the Ritz, with a newborn baby, my brother, but then settled in Bridgeport, Connecticut, where my great-uncles helped them begin a new life. My father died on December 30th, almost 100 years old. 14 months after the passing of my mother, he leaves 3 children, 7 grandchildren, 4 great-grandchildren, and my first grandchild on the way. Today, if you Google his name, you will find a photo of him with his partisan group in the forest. At the end of the war, he received a medal for helping the Russians fight the Germans. He was a fighter till the end, a survivor, and a hero for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dina. I want to invite Rabbi Gauss and Cantor Kittrick to please come forward to the bima. Cantor Kittrick is going to lead us in Ani Ma'amin, and then the mourner's Kaddish with the camps.
Ani Ma'amin Be'emunah Shlema Bevias HaMashiach Ani Ma'amin Be'emunah Shlema Bevias HaMashiach Bevias HaMashiach Ve'af al pi she'yismamea achakelo bechol yom sheyavo ve'af al pi she'yismamea achakelo bechol yom sheyavo.
Please rise if you can.
Yitzkada
Auschwitz,
V'yitzkada
Lodz,
Shmei Rabba
Honor,
Be'alma divrach Yerutei
Babi Yar,
Ve'yamlich malchutei
Madanek,
B'chayechon u'v'yamechon
Birkenau,
ובחיי דכל בית ישראל
Kovno,
בגלה ובזמן קריב
Yanowska,
ואמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה יתברך וישתבח
Theresienstadt,
ויתפאר ויתרומם
Buchenwald,
ויתנשא ויתהדר
Treblinka,
ויתעלה ויתהלל
Vilna,
שמי דקודשה בריחו
Mauthausen,
לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה
Dachau,
תושבחתה ונחמתה
Minsk,
דמירן מעלמה
Warsaw,
ואמרו אמן יש למה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו
Thank you. Please be seated, everyone. Is Bob Sofer in the room? Bob, if you would step forward, please.
Good evening, everyone. In my opinion, the best way to honor the 6 million Jews murdered in the Holocaust is for all of us to work together to ensure that this never happens again. To me, this is very personal because I lost some close relatives in the Holocaust. Before tonight's service started, I handed out a number of brochures and flyers which describe the cattle car experience. The cattle car is a replica of the one used by the Nazis to transport Jews to the death camps. Once in the cattle car, that's going to be at Temple Sinai, visitors are given a 20-minute multimedia immersion experience. This is done with the use of ceiling video projectors which show slides and videos while people listen to a guided interpretive tutorial by a member of the cattle car staff. This immersive multimedia experience heightens the participants' sensory understanding through personal stories, music, and sounds. It also allows them to reflect on modern-day issues of anti-Semitism and other forms of hate and how they are related to the Holocaust. Next week, the cattle car will be coming to Greater Boston. However, it will only be in our immediate area one day, and that is Thursday, April 27, from noon to 8 p.m. at Temple Sinai of Sharon. Admission is free, and no reservations are required. Your presence here tonight is an indication that you understand the significance of the Holocaust and its lessons. However, in survey after survey, we now continue to see a very worrisome decline in Holocaust knowledge and awareness in the general population. Equally disturbing is the trend towards Holocaust denial and distortion. Therefore, I urge you to come and visit the cattle car on Thursday, April 27th, and I also urge you to invite others to come as well, particularly people who are not Jewish, because we really need your help in reaching these individuals. I mention this because our outreach to the communities where many of you live have generated very little interest in this unique exhibit. My name, as the rabbi said, is Bob Sofer, and after the service, I will be standing in the lobby to answer any questions you may have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And our communities will be sharing information with you through our emails for when that is open next Thursday. We're going to conclude this part of our program with anthems for both the United States and the State of Israel. I'd like to ask everyone to please rise if you are able. Reb Lisa Feld will lead us in the singing of God Bless America, and then Shir Rhythm will lead us in the HaTikvah. And once again, at the conclusion of HaTikvah, I'd like to ask those who are able to please remain with us for the Ma'ariv service.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountain to the prairies to the ocean, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Please remain standing. Those of you who have a Siddur, we turn to page 264. V'hu Rahum, introducing the Baruch Hu.
והוא רחום יכפר עוון ולא ישחית, וירבה להשיב אפו ולא יאיר כל חמתו. אדוני הושיע, המלך יעננו ביום קוראנו. ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני
Please be seated, everyone.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים תמיד, ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב הרבים. אהבת עולם בית ישראל המחר את הדבר. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ויהם נגה יומם ולילה, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ברוך שמו מלכות עולם ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך.
We continue quietly till near the bottom of page 266.
אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Middle of 267, Umalchuta.
ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה ומרים ובני ישראל, הכנו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך בוקע ים לפני משה זה ליהנו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום. ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני שומר עמו ישראל לעד. ברוך אתה אדוני לעולם.
Page 269 at the carrot.
כי המלכות שלך היא לעולמי עד, תמלוך בכבוד, כי אין לנו מלך אלא אתה. ברוך אתה אדוני המלך בכבודו תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד ועל כל מעשיו. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועל מה דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון וחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה וזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה. בריחו לאל אמין כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ואמרו ואמרו אמן.
We'll take a few moments now for the quiet evening Amidah starting on 270. God grant abundant and lasting peace to our people and to all who dwell on earth. God, you are a sovereign master of the ways of peace. When you finish your Amidah, please do be seated. We're going to continue with the Kaddish Shalem on page 280.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברי חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון וחיי דכל בית ישראל הבא בזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפעל ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה, בריחו לאל אמין כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמא, ואמרו אמן. תתקבל צלות הון ובאות הון דכל ישראל קודם עוון וישמעיה, ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו
Amen. We stand together now on page 63 for the counting of the Omer. The day that has just ended was the 12th day of the Omer, so I assume we will add one to that. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer. Hayom shlosha asar yom, shehem shavua echad v'shisha yamim La Omer. Tonight and tomorrow mark 13 days, a full week, and 6 days in the journey of the Omer. We remain standing and turn back to page 281, Olenu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת זו מגורמי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אף וזולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום, וישב אותה אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא אלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ, מתחת אין עוד, ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד,
Please be seated, everyone. Before we conclude our service with a final mourner's Kaddish on page 282, Dina, I just want to thank you and your committee for all of the work that you did to make this program happen yet again this year. So beautiful, with such wonderful talks and such incredibly beautiful musical interludes in the program this year. So thanks to you, and thanks to our singers and to all who participated in our service tonight. The mourners and those who are recalling a yahrzeit and anyone else whose custom it is to stand for the Kaddish, please do rise as you are able. The Kaddish is found on page 282. Yit Gadal v'Yit Kadash Shmei Rabbah B'Olma Divrach Yerutei v'Yamlich Malchutei B'Chayechon uV'Yomechon uV'Chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala uV'Zman Kori v'Yimeru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Le'olam Yomei Omaya Yit Barach v'Yishtabach v'Yit Pa'ar v'Yit Romam v'Yit Naseh V'yit Hadar, v'yit Alev, v'yit Halal, Shemei Kedusha, Brichu, Liela, Min Kol, Birchata, V'Shirata, Tushbechata, V'Nechemata, Damiran B'Alma, V'Yimeru, Amen. Yehi Shlomo Rabba, Min Shmaya, V'Chaim Olenu, V'Al Kol Yisrael, V'Yimeru, Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Oleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen. We look to the heavens and we see, God, that fire and water are able to be sustained together up above. May God bring growing peace and safety down below to our world, and let us all say, Amen. Thank you all for coming. Erev Tov.